This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast.
Welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, where we help women remove the overwhelm of living their most holistic life. This is the place to find evidence-based nutrition tactics, healthy lifestyle and wellness tips, abundance mindset, and easily implementable low-tox living strategies so you can rise up to your full potential and protect your family's health. I'm your host, Stacey Heine, certified holistic nutritionist and better living advocate. Now, let's get empowered with some simple swaps that make a big impact for optimal wellness.
It's episode 61 of the Urban Pharmacy Podcast. Welcome, welcome. I have an amazing guest today. He's known as the most organized man in America. I mean, seriously, what? So he's also part of the Ultimate Health and Weight Loss Bundle. So that is why I had to have him on. His name is Andrew Mellen, and he is a keynote speaker, coach, productivity, and organizational expert, and the #1 best-selling author of Unstuff Your Life, the most organized man in America's guide to moving. Andrew has helped over 500,000 people and businesses worldwide to remove physical and time clutter so they regain time for the things that matter. He likes to say, give me 2 hours once and I'll give you an hour back every day for the rest of your life. A sought-after authority on productivity and organization, Andrew's addressed audiences from TEDx, YPO, EO, and Dwell on Design to the Great British Business Show, Seattle Interactive, ICF Converge, and BlogHer. Corporate clients include the New York Mets, baseball franchise, American Express, NetApp, and so many more. The media has dubbed Andrew as the most organized man in America, like I said, and he has written for and or appeared everywhere from the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Fast Company to CBS, Sunday Morning, HGTV, and NPR. He hosts the new and noteworthy podcast, Declutter Your Life, on iTunes, and he leads workshops and speaks internationally while maintaining a private practice coaching clients ranging from Fortune 100 companies, trade associations, and nonprofits to CEOs, and more. Andrew is a member of the Experts Collective and serves on the faculty of the New York Open Center in New York City. He speaks frequently in the intersection of spirituality and organization at Omega Institute, San Francisco Zen Center, and many more places. Andrew is very busy. Previously, Andrew has an award-winning playwright, actor, producer, and director, and the former artistic director of Alice B Theater in Seattle, DC Art Center in Washington, DC, and Shutter Theater in New York. I think you're gonna love this episode. You're gonna be mind blown when you understand all the little things you can do to become more organized in your life. Here's Andrew. Hey, Andrew Mellen, welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast. I'm super glad to have you here.
Thanks. I'm great. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you for holding space with me. I really appreciate your valuable time with me today. Okay, so Andrew, you are known as the most organized man in America. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me how in the world that came to be, and tell me where the name came from, and then also explain to me what got you into being such a master organizer?
So, I mean, the name came because the media named me the most organized man in America. So I'm running with it. That's the genesis of that. The other two questions I can answer with one response. So, in 1996, I was laid off from a theater in Seattle, Washington. I came back east to co-produce an award ceremony at the Kennedy Center, and one of our awardees was a Nobel Peace Prize winner based in New York City. I went up to New York to get photographs that we were going to use to put together a slide presentation. When he came up to collect his award, in the process of going through his files, they were a mess. and pulling together what I needed, his wife asked me if I would be interested in organizing their photographs for them. I said that would be a tremendous honor. I would love to do that for you. So when the gig producing the award center at the Kennedy Center was over, the plan was I was going to return to New York City because I left Seattle, and I was going to start this work. The day before I was supposed to go to work in December of 1996, they called up and said, something's come up, we need to travel, we'll do this in a month. And we made a date for January. This happened in January, February, March. In March, they said, when we're ready to proceed, we'll get back in touch with you. So I never went to work for them. But in those 4 months, I told everybody, I'm going to create a comprehensive photographic archive for a Nobel Peace Prize winner. That led to a friend referring me to her accountant who needed a filing system. I built that filing system for her accountant. The accountant then started referring me to clients of hers. People would show up on my doorstep literally with a duffel bag full of receipts saying, I haven't filed my taxes in 5 years. There's letters from the IRS in here. I'm freaked out. I do not want to go to jail. Can you make sense out of this paperwork before something really bad happens? So I would organize their papers for them. I'd put it in QuickBooks. I'd give it to the accountant would file their taxes. And these people would tell everybody, oh my God, you'll never believe what this guy did. I gave him a pile of garbage. He turned it into my taxes. He's a genius. He saved my life. And inevitably, their friends would say, who is this guy? I need somebody like that. And that is how my business began. So I was still working as a freelance producer and director in the theater at that time. But this work kept coming and coming and coming. And I reached a pivotal point where I had just finished directing and producing a play off Broadway. And it was not a great experience. It was fine. It was not the worst experience I've ever had, but it also wasn't the best. And I just thought, this is what it is. I'm seeing such great results over here in this world, helping people solve problems, simplify their lives, get their shit together, that this feels powerful, and it's a similar kind of result that I was telling stories in a dark room, hoping to prompt in people, just in a group, right? It's a one-to-many kind of experience. I'm telling a story. I'm hoping you're going to connect the dots. You'll have some sort of an epiphany or catharsis. You'll make changes to how you move through time and space. Over here, I'm helping individuals in the beginning organize themselves, simplify their lives, have an epiphany, have a catharsis, change how they're moving through time and space. Over time, I discovered that because I have the background that I have, that I could start to speak and teach and write a book and do all of those things so that I could start to leverage instead of one-to-one, one-to-many, and do the same thing. The only difference is over here there's a metaphor, over here there's not. So if I could wrap my head around this idea of I have to be an artist in a certain way. I have to make art and it has to be in a theater and it has to look like this. If I could surrender that piece of information, that story, and say, it's not really my job to concern myself with the method of communication. It's really my job to be of service and do the work. So if this is where there's more reception right now and there's more access and there's greater traction, I'm just going to pivot over here. So that was the journey. And 25 years later, this is what I'm doing. And I'm the most organized man in America.
Okay. So what are you doing, Andrew, right now? What are you doing? What do you offer to the world? Because I feel like you kind of have a lot to offer.
Sure. Well, there's books. There's my first book, which is called Unstuff Your Life. We've sold over 111,000 copies of that book so far. And that was published by Penguin, now Penguin Random House, but Penguin when it first came out. My second book is a much smaller book. It's called The Most Organized Man in America's Guide to Moving. So it's hyper specific. If you are moving, it's a great book, and it basically functions as a Kindle single. So you can either buy it and run it through Kindle, or Amazon will print a book and send it to you if you want that. And it has the primary point of that book is helping you to decide whether you're going to move yourself or you're going to move with other people, like you'll hire movers or you're going to DIY it. And regardless, it's all built on a checklist that starts 3 months out from a move and takes you all the way through the move and a week after moving to unpack, so that you can finally have a system to get you moving without trying to remember everything. There's so many moving parts when you're literally moving house. Why would you want to try to hold that in your head when you could have an easy peasy checklist? So that's the premise of that book. So there's 2 books. Right now, I'm working on my 3rd book, Calling BS on Busy, which is the title also of the master class that is included in the bundle that we're both participating in right now. We have a whole Unstuff University, which is a set of online courses. So we have Calling BS on Busy, we have Mastering Your Digital Life, we have How to Stop Fighting over stuff. If you're in a stuff discordant relationship, either you're neat and your partner isn't, or vice versa, you're not so neat and they are, and there's disharmony there. This is a class that you can take by yourself or together to figure out how you can find the common problem so that then you can work on a common solution. Without the common problem, one of you has a problem and one of you's upset. So it allows people to stop fighting about like he said, she said, she said, and it gets everybody focused on how do we make the spaces, how do we make our relationship built on finding a common solution to wherever there's friction or a bottleneck. So those are the classes that are at Unstuff University in it, and another class called Unstuff Your Mind, which is a 4-module course that is really about looking at mindset and neuroplasticity and changing how we think about, feel about, and interact with stuff, which is the baseline for all of the work that I do. And then beyond that, we have 2 other programs. We have Unstuff Your Life System, which is a 10-week course program that you can take where we touch all of the major clutter hotspots, from sentimental objects, papers, digital files, kitchens, closets, auxiliary spaces like garages, attics, offsite storage, bedrooms, bathrooms, entryways. We address every major clutter hotspot so that you have both accountability, you have coaching, they're all taught live, and you also have the content that you need to be able to address all of these clutter hotspots. And then we also have, for graduates of that program, although you don't have to technically be a graduate of the Unstuff Your Life system to join us in our 12-week mastermind program called Your Next Big Thing. Because from my point of view, right, like once you've changed your relationship with stuff, all of those someday or later projects that you've been procrastinating on, now you finally have the time and the bandwidth to be able to address them. So I will teach you the fundamentals of project management so that you can, whatever it is that you want to do, you want to write an opera, you want to renovate your home, you want to plan a trip, you want to create a nonprofit organization, you want to build a business, sell a business, move your house, whatever your next big thing is, in 12 weeks will help you manifest that. So from 0 to 100 in 90 days, that's the focus of your next big thing. Wow. And those are currently, and then I also speak, and I speak internationally on organization, time management, productivity. So.
So good.
Yeah.
I need all of the courses. So, okay. So, okay, here's the thing, Andrew. When I think that when a lot of people think about organization in their life, like decluttering and stuff like that, if they think of like the Container Store and they think of like just buying more containers so that they can organize their things. But I know that you have like, is it like a 3-step thing or like 5 tips that you like to give to people that really help them get started on all of this?
Well, so I think you're referencing the organizational triangle. So, which are really the only 3 rules that you need to know about getting and staying organized. I think often people get tripped up. They spend all of their time focused on getting organized as if that's something's going to be frozen in time and space. To be clear, you shouldn't have to spend the rest of your life getting organized. You will have to spend the rest of your life staying organized, but it is not a particularly complicated or complex thing to stay organized once you have become organized, right? I mean, you don't think about it's a big deal to floss your teeth every day or to brush your teeth or to make your bed or to eat or to go to the bathroom or take a bath, take a shower. These just become bring the mail in, right? Pay your bills. These are the daily maintenance things that we do to stay afloat and stay focused and stay functional. So if we just add putting your keys away, putting your bag away, knowing where your mobile phone is to that list of brushing your teeth and going to the bathroom and eating, it doesn't become so cumbersome, or it's not such a thing to take on, right? What is the thing is often the getting organized, and then you just want to really focus on staying organized. So the organizational triangle is super simple. And I came up with this because I wanted to make it so easy for somebody to understand what you need to do to get and stay organized. There are no rules you need to remember. You don't need to remember that you're only allowed to have 14 pairs of shoes or 9 scarves or 12 sweaters. I mean, all of that's baloney. If somebody's telling you that there's a number of things to have, if you think about it objectively, right? If you pull yourself out of it and you think about it objectively, now you're having to not only manage the stuff, but manage the number, like try to remember, like, do I have 13 pairs of gloves, or do I have 14? Where am I at? Like, do I have too many? If there's enough room for you to have 22 pairs of shoes, have 22 pairs of shoes. If there's enough room for you to have 100 pairs of shoes and you have 100 pairs of shoes, have 100 pairs of shoes. Just don't buy the 101st pair unless you're ready to get rid of one of the existing 100 pairs. So it's super easy. So this is the organizational triangle. One home for everything, like with like, and something in, something out. We'll do it one more time. One home for everything, like with like. And those are the two things that we use to get organized. One home for everything and like with like. Something in, something out is exactly how we stay organized. There's only one thing you have to do to stay organized. So one home for everything means everything has one home and only one home. Where you keep your keys can be different from where I keep my keys. But your keys have a home, my keys have a home. They're either in our hand unlocking something or they're in their home. They can only ever be one of two places at a time. So you will always be able to find your keys because they're either in your hand or they're in their home. Like with like means all like objects live together, not most of them. One of the places people often get tripped up is they'll come up with what they think is a little clever hack. And so instead of keeping all the tools in the toolbox in the garage, they'll keep the Phillips head screwdriver in the junk drawer in the kitchen because they've got a story that says, you know, the knobs are always a little loose. I don't want to go all the way out to the garage to have to get that screwdriver. That's a waste of time, right? I'm going to keep it right here at my fingertips. So every time I need it, it's right where I need it. But the problem is, because all the other tools are out in the garage, of course you're going to go out to the garage to look for the screwdriver there first. You're not going to find it. You are probably not going to remember your clever little hack. You're going to end up at the hardware store. You're going to buy a new Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to bring that home. You're going to use it. 3 weeks later, you're going to be digging around in the junk drawer. You're going to find that screwdriver. And almost to a person, your first response is not going to be, aha, here it is. It's going to be, who's the bozo that left this here? The second thought will probably be, oh, right, that was me. That was my clever idea. The third thought will be one of your 200 lies. Now that I remember, right, I put it here, I swear to God, I'll never forget that this is where it is. And in 30 seconds, you will forget that it's there. So putting all like objects together, again, just alleviates the bandwidth for you to have to remember anything. If there's one home, all of the tools can only be one place. It's super easy. Like with like and one home for everything is how you get organized. And again, there are no rules about how much stuff you can have. If you can't close the closet door, you have too much stuff. If you can easily see what's inside the closet, maybe you have room for more things than you think you do. So you don't need to apply extra rules on top of those two. When it comes to staying organized, you just need something in, something out. So when something new comes in, something old leaves. How many times have you, specifically Stacy, but really anybody, said, there aren't enough hours in the day for me to get everything done? If that has ever come out of your mouth, why would you spend a minute of the time that you don't have to do the things that are important to you shopping for something that you do not need when you already have? I mean, if you're in the process of decluttering, we can assume that you're actually in a state of abundance. You have more than you need. So why would you ever be looking on the horizon for something new to bring in if you weren't replacing something that was either obsolete or broken or damaged or didn't function any longer, because you have enough of everything. And the one thing that you don't have enough of is time. So why would you invest it in accumulating more things that you don't need instead of investing it into all of those things that you're never able to get to, that are in alignment with your values and are important to you? It's a no-brainer when you think about it objectively. Of course, when you're flipping through the catalog or you're walking through the mall and you think, oh my God, it's on sale. They got a BOGO sale. They're practically giving it away. It's not a bargain if you don't need it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So good. Okay. So I feel like I need to make like a flag and like thumbtack the organizational triangle and put it up onto my wall. It was over a decade ago when I first discovered a plant-based diet. There was next to nothing to read and learn from. In fact, I got my hands on a book called The Kind Diet from Alicia Silverstone, and then I watched a documentary with Avril Lavigne in it called Fast Food Nation, and everything changed in my life. But I still felt so confused. I was lost and discouraged, and I had no idea other than those resources on where to start. I just wanted to feel better. I was tired of over-exercising and minimizing what was on my plate and feeling like I could only eat a small amount of food to feel well and to reach my ideal weight. But how I wish I had had something like this that I'm going to tell you about right now. A whole bundle of brilliant content from people who have already done the trial and error and want to teach how it can be done properly and sustainably. The Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle is here for you to give you the tools you need to lose weight healthfully, without extremes, without diet shakes, without all of the supplements, in a natural way. This is part of holistic living and what I teach you every day. We have to find a balanced approach to eating well so that we can have long-term success and feel well while we impact the people who we know we are created to impact, right? So guess what? The Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle is here for you to give you the tools, again, that you need. It ends on March 2nd. You only have until March 2nd to get this. Only a handful of hours are left in this entire bundle. We really don't have much time. So make sure that you click the link, show notes, and get your hands on this bundle that has over $4,600 worth of content for only $49. And well over 1,000 recipes so that you'll always have ideas. And did I tell you? There's a ton of doctors in this bundle. So you're getting good, sound advice. And it's not just another diet fad, okay? This is very sustainable weight loss and weight maintenance and just feeling better in your body. We've even got things like exercise and mindset work and organizational tips and tricks in this bundle. So again, click the link before this episode even ends and make sure that you get your hands on the Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle. I know that you're going to find so much value, and this is going to kickstart you into a better way of living today. All right, back to the show. Okay, so, all right, let's talk a little bit about environment and habits, because I think that you probably help people with this a lot in terms of productivity and not just productivity, but also like success with their health. And since we're promoting this amazing bundle and you have this Calling BS on, what's it called?
Busy.
Calling BS on Busy course that people can take. How can getting organized and having an environment set up for success really influence our long-term ideal existence?
Well, any friction, any bottleneck, any place where there is friction, it slows you down. I mean, it's why swimmers shave their bodies. It's why, when we're looking at elite athletes, they do everything they can to maximize their streamlined ability to, again, move through time and space, right? With zero friction. That's the objective. So borrowing that that concept and applying it to our own personal lives, right? Where maybe we are not elite athletes, but still, if you have to spend 15 minutes in the morning looking for your keys or putting your bag together, or you're spending more time than you need to making breakfast in the morning or trying to figure out what outfit you're going to wear, ultimately, and this is no spin on people who are perhaps more fashion conscious or actually even in the fashion industry, because I've certainly had plenty of clients who work in the fashion industry. You still want the things to be available to you and not to be so jumbled, and the experience of shopping in your own closet to be so confusing or so overwhelming that you're burning through time unnecessarily to get ready. And then if we also, because again of the bundle and talking about weight loss and fitness, if your kitchen isn't set up for success, then are you spending extra time looking for the tools that you need? If you've got a story that says, I'd love to eat healthier, but I just don't have the time. There's so much involvement in like trying to integrate more plants into my diet, or to eat more raw foods or more whole foods or whatever it might be. I would love to do it, but I just don't have the time. All of those friction points, all of those bottlenecks in your kitchen and its functionality, if we can eliminate those, maybe that story starts to have less influence over your choices, because now you do have the time, right? You do know where your tools are. You do know where your juicer is if you use a juicer. You know where your food processor is if you use a food processor. Your knives are sharp. You know where they are. All of these things that you might be looking for are at your fingertips, really. And they're not stacked on top of each other in a way that interferes with your ability to easily pull them out. When I work with families with kids, one of the first things we look at is eliminating for kids, because it's super easy to see it with children, and then we just extrapolate on that for adults. But right, if you're trying to organize your kids, anything that is an obstacle between the thing and putting it where you want the kid to put it is a reason for them to drop it on the floor and walk away and go in another direction. So you might want a perfect Elle decor or Architectural Digest looking home. If you don't have the help that's going to keep that intact in the way that you envision it, right? Your magazine spread perfect home. Don't put lids on any of the containers that you're using with your kids, because if they have to move a lid to put something away, they're not going to. If we just take those principles and then bring those into your adult life, why would we want to stack multiple things on top of them? If what you're always going for is the thing that's on the bottom, you've just created a 4 or 5 step process to get to the thing that you use the most. It doesn't make any sense logically in the vacuum of trying to solve a problem. Of course, in the moment when you're living in the story of too much to do and not enough time, you're thinking, well, just get it in the cupboard. I just don't want to look at it. So I'll deal with organizing it later. Right now, I'm just going to shove it in there and close the door so I don't have to deal with it being out. Every time you make one of those choices for a short-term result at a long-term cost, you are in essence creating clutter. So instead of solving the problem once and for all, you're basically just punting it down the field so that you will deal with it later, because you have a story, one of your 200 lies, that says, I'll have more free time later. And when has that ever happened in anybody's life, right? Once you leave your parents' home and they're not doing your dishes and making your meals for you and doing your laundry, when have you ever had unstructured time that didn't have other things vying for its access? It's a lie. You're never going to have free time that you don't deliberately make free. So the more you can be deliberate about your choices around setting up your home for success, so that you can find things that when you need them, they're again utilizing the organizational triangle, that what you need is available to you when you need it. Then you start to claw back some of that time that has been wasted historically because of faulty or incomplete or inefficient systems. It doesn't, none of this requires you to become an unfeeling robot as you move through your life. It actually creates more space, more freedom, less stress. You just have to implement the systems and assign things homes, bring all like objects together so that you can create a baseline for your life and anybody that you're living with as the perfect spring pad to have more free time to do the things that matter.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a super random, like, what do you think about like nesting bowls in the kitchen? Do you think that that's like, I know that that's very random, but like bowls that nest inside of each other, like in terms of organization, is that like?
So I have bowls that nest inside each other. I just don't have all 9 of them in one stack. I have the small bowls in one little stack of 3 bowls, and I have the large bowls in one stack of 4 bowls, so that those are, that's an easier thing to manipulate. If I had to move 9 of them every time I wanted to get to the big bowl, that would be a deal breaker for me. But basically, I'm either using big bowls or small bowls.
Yeah. Okay. I like that because I've got a lot of nesting bowls and I find myself like, yeah, I'll just break it down. And that's so simple. I feel like you probably have literally like thousands of little hacks that you get, like little tips that over the years you've definitely helped people with. So aside from the organizational triangle, Andrew, like, let's just stay in the kitchen if it makes it easier for you, or you can choose another room.
No, stay in the kitchen.
Do you have any top tips in terms of kitchen, like on what people can start to do now so that they can better themselves and like reduce the obstacles that they have to healthfully eat and just having a system or some sort of setup?
Yeah, well, I think what you want to do is you want to borrow from commercial kitchens and zone your kitchen, right? Yeah. Whether you've got a tiny little galley kitchen or a Pullman kitchen, or you've got a big, delicious kitchen, with multiple sinks and dishwashers and a butler's pantry, the scale of the room doesn't really matter. You want to zone it, and you want to think about what are the different kinds of things that you do in your kitchen. So there's prep. Right? If you're not a raw person, then you're cooking food, right? So you're applying heat to food. So we've got cooking and baking. We've got storage. So all of the things that you're going to use to store food after it's been prepared or in its preparation, you're going to need a zone for that. You need a zone for beverages. You need a place for cleanup. So if we just look at a commercial kitchen and how it's set up, we just borrow those zones and we create our own little versions of them. So it might be in a small kitchen, you have a drawer. In a bigger kitchen, you have a whole, 2 or 3 base cabinets and a couple of upper cabinets. It really, again, the scale of the room shouldn't dictate your ability. Because in my first apartment in Manhattan, the entire apartment was 325 square feet. And when you walked into the apartment, the kitchen was also the vestibule. So the kitchen was maybe, I think, 56 square feet. I had 1 base cabinet. I had 2 upper cabinets. I had a countertop and a sink. And I had a hanging pot rack, and I had a grid on the wall that I could also hang things on. I had to make that work. And so like one drawer was the prep drawer, like one drawer was for this, one drawer was for that, one cabinet was for this. And I made it work, and I zoned stuff, right? I mean, the pots and pans were all together hanging from a pot rack. If there was a pot in the kitchen or a lid, it was hanging from the pot rack. So one home for everything, like with like, was all in one place. And that is how I made that kitchen work for me. So the space limitations shouldn't limit your ability to apply this idea of zones. And it's your kitchen. So if you're left-handed, if you like your cooking utensils to the left, if you like your knives to the left, design it so that it makes sense for you, that it functions for you. Now, if you live with other people and you're the only lefty, or you've got a lefty in the house, you might want to figure out some compromises so that everybody feels like the kitchen works for them. I live alone and I'm left-handed. So my kitchen is set up so that my dominant hand, my left hand, is when I want something, it's typically within reach of my left hand.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've given us already so many things to think about and to run with. Before we wrap it up, I have a question. I have two more questions. One is one I ask everybody, and one is one that I can't wait to hear your advice on. You said we should not, I mean, ideally, I think the answer from you might be that we don't have a junk drawer. But if we do, or are you just going to say just don't have one at all? But if we do, do you have like how they organize theirs? Like, because we have pens in our junk drawer, but we also have a lot of junk.
Well, I think the first step is really just to take an inventory of the drawer, right? I mean, first of all, you're spot on when I would prefer you didn't have a junk drawer in your kitchen. And so the first step away from having a junk drawer in your kitchen would be to have a miscellaneous drawer in your kitchen, which is incrementally better than junk, because junk is literally garbage, right? So why do you have a drawer dedicated to trash? Let's at least elevate it to miscellaneous things that previously you weren't able to figure out what is this like, or where else would it go? Where are its siblings, so that it can join its siblings? Yeah. So if in that drawer you have carry-out food menus, or you have pens, writing utensils, you have rubber bands, you have push pins, you have, these are office supplies. So if you don't want to go all the way to where the rest of the office supplies are, you could sequester them in some small little container it's like a little satellite container of office supplies inside your miscellaneous drawer, right? Your catch-all drawer. Let's organize the delivery menus. Do you still use delivery menus, or are you using an app like Seamless or DoorDash or Uber Eats? Do you really even need those menus anymore? Or could you bookmark the actual, if it's a pizza delivery menu or Chinese takeout or something, could you not just bookmark those particular restaurants and not necessarily need the menus? Because if you're not using the menus, people often keep their owner's manuals in that drawer. And again, those could easily be saved as a PDF on your computer or on your tablet. How many times have you ever, if there was a problem with your refrigerator, did you go to the manual, or did you go to the website to figure out, like, I need support for my refrigerator? You're not flipping through the manual looking for it. So a lot of that stuff could go in the recycle bin. If you got leftover hardware from your IKEA furniture, you already put the furniture together. You didn't need that hardware. That hardware isn't IKEA hardware anymore. It's just hardware. So it either joins the rest of your hardware wherever your tools are, because if that cabinet falls apart, the one extra screw or washer that you're holding on to is not going to be the missing part. Mm-hmm. At this point, it's just extra. It's surplus. So it should join its siblings, right? The washers with the washers, the screws with the screws, the nuts with the nuts, the bolts with the bolts. It's if you take a quick inventory of what's sitting in that drawer, chances are you will find siblings, and you can marry those things up with their siblings someplace else until that drawer could actually be repurposed and serve a better function than being a random miscellaneous catch-all in the middle of prime real estate, right? Like, I mean, if you wouldn't just put a box in the middle of your living room floor and just drop all the junk in there that you can't figure out what to do with, and leave it sitting on your coffee table or next to your coffee table, like, well, I don't know what to do with this stuff, so I'm just going to commit to a box living in the middle of the living room, and instead of us being able to walk, we're going to have to walk around it now anytime we want to get through the room because we left this box here. You're basically giving up a drawer in a room where seldom is there so much storage space that you can afford to give up a drawer for things that probably have very little positive impact on your life, and they're just all a bunch of decisions that you deferred over time and just parked crap there. So let's dispatch that as quickly as we can.
Okay, I'm literally going to empty my junk drawer after we're done here. And I am so excited because I know exactly what the drawer is going to be used for. Excellent. It's going to be used for all of my spatulas that are underneath my stovetop right now, my cooktop, behind the towels. And it's like an obstacle every morning that I try to get my stupid spatulas. So perfect. I'm so excited. Okay, that was so helpful. Okay, Andrew, before we wrap up, and by the way, everybody needs to get this bundle, not only so that they can live a more healthful life, but so that they can unstuff their life and that they can declutter and really get into Andrew's funnel, because you're not going to regret it, because he has amazing content and you're going to be like, oh, I need this in my life. I need to get organized.
Yeah, just before we get to that the last plug I'll just put in for this bundle, right? I mean, calling BS on Busy normally sells for $97 at Unstuff University.
Man.
I mean, if you go there, so I mean, the entire bundle, it's $4,600 worth of value from you and all of these other amazing experts. Yes. I mean, if you were just interested in calling BS on Busy, this 90-minute masterclass, you'd have to pay $97 for it at Unstuff University. You're getting it for $49 plus another $4,500 worth of amazing content. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I love that Chef AJ and Melissa cooked up, no pun intended, cooked up this bundle, because the experts, there's over 100 of us, and everybody's got a specialty and everybody's an expert at what they're offering. So it just seems like it's a no-brainer. I mean, the price point couldn't be more reasonable.
It's literally you cannot not get it. You have to get it.
Right.
And it's only available for a really super limited time, and it won't be back till next year. So, okay, Andrew, I ask everybody this, and I want to know from you, because I teach people about a lot of things in terms of how to live a better life and how to shift their mentality, their habits, their health in a holistic way. And I want to know from you, what does holistic living mean?
It means that you have a 360-degree view of how you're moving through time and space, so that you recognize that every choice has ripples and impacts everything, right? I mean, everything is interconnected. And we as organisms are a micro manifestation of that, right? I mean, what we put in our bodies, what we put on our bodies, both clothing and lotions and gels and potions, all of these things are part of this micro organism. And then the macro is that there's 7+ billion people sharing this planet, and whatever you do has ripple effects on somebody in, East Asia and vice versa. I mean, we're all interconnected in that way. We're all sharing one master ecosystem, and nobody lives in a bubble, regardless of how misanthropic or solitary you might think you are. Your actions influence the quality of life of everybody else in the same way that their choices impact the quality of your life. So when we think about, it's always good from my point of view to think about the macro implications as well as the micro implications, right? That how well you sleep impacts probably what you're going to put in your mouth the next day, and then what you put in your mouth during that day is probably going to impact whether you get a good night's sleep or not, and whether you feel like working out or moving your body in any way, and how well your brain is going to function, and how available you are to show up for your interpersonal relationships, how available you are to show up for yourself, and so the more we look at how integrated things are and how every choice informs another choice. That's what I think of when I think of holistic living.
Oh, that's so good. The ripple effect, the 360 view. So good. I love it, Andrew. So awesome. I appreciate you. Where can we follow you? On Instagram, Facebook, or where can we find you?
I am all those places. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And certainly at my website, andrewmellen.com. And Mellen is spelled Mellen. And so you will find me on all of those platforms. We're always, and also on YouTube. I mean, I think we have over 1 million views of our videos combined on the YouTube platform so far. And so you can certainly subscribe to my YouTube channel there. We push out new content every week. So yeah, there's lots of ways to find me and to interact with us. And of course, we do a De-Stress Your Mess challenge twice a year. We just did one in January, depending on when you're listening to this. We do one typically every January, and we are doing another one in 2022 in May. So that's a 5-day challenge, $5, $1 a day. And we address most of the major clutter hotspots in a significant enough way. And more than anything, we look at your mindset, because again, how you think about, feel about, and interact with stuff is going to inform your relationship with stuff so much more than if you're just trying to tame clutter in your outside world. If you don't look at how you move through time and space, how you feel about, think about, and interact with stuff, you're just basically moving stuff from room to room. There'll be no lasting, sustainable change because you and your relationship with stuff hasn't changed.
So powerful. I signed up for the De-Stress Your Mess and I spent $5 and I got through the first few days. I didn't stick to the whole thing. So I'm doing it again in May, like no doubt, hands down. And I can't wait to check out your bundle course. I am totally sold. You're doing exactly what you should be doing in life. You're living your purpose and it's really amazing. And your gift is so good. So thank you, Andrew. You are amazing. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Stacey. It's just a delight to be with you. And I'm super psyched that we've spent this time together. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Bye.
I'm over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of The Urban Pharmacy. For today's show notes, head on over to theurbanpharmacy.com and be sure to join us inside our private Facebook group called The Urban Pharmacy, where we share inspiration, live trainings, and holistic living tips to help you build community and the healthy lifestyle that you've always wanted. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Before we connect again on the next show, follow me on Instagram at The Urban Pharmacy. That's urban with an H and pharmacy with an F. And I can't wait to hear your wellness journey as we get to know each other better. You know, there's truly no better time than now to level up your life. And I am so proud of you for showing up today. Until next time, be well, Health Crusader.